Dan Staino, been on the board for 5 years. This will be my 6th year officiating.
Why did you become a basketball official?
I had played all my life, and I actually did a little bit of officiating for intramurals in college. And when I got out of that, I really enjoyed it. And so as I got older and playing wasn't quite as easy, I decided that to stay involved in the sport. Officiating was something that I've always done because I also do some baseball officiating as well, and got into it that way.
Excellent. Was going through the process of becoming a basketball official hard or easy for you?
I wouldn't say it was hard or easy, but I thought it was a good process. And what I mean by that was I felt prepared, to officiate games. But the process itself, as far as the setup and the trainings and all that, was quite easy. But learning all the rules and making sure that I had all my I's dotted and T's crossed, I wouldn't say was easy, but I definitely made it through it.
Since you played basketball, once you started learning rules in the process, was it enlightening to you, or did you think you already went into it with it, like, all right, I knew that?
No, I felt like I knew the rules. That was the way onto my varsity basketball team. I was the knowledge guy. I knew the game, but I didn't know the game until I became an official and really started to understand the intricacies of block charge and the different type of those little things, those little rules that you may not think about when you're playing the game. So it definitely heightened my knowledge of the game for sure once I became an official.
Do you think the class, and you took the class in person, right?
Correct, yeah, I was in person.
Okay, did you think the class equipped you well enough to be, with the rules?
Absolutely. I thought that the way that the class was broken down, going through rule by rule, definitely helped me, either solidify what I thought I knew or teach me some stuff that maybe I thought I knew and I didn't. So I thought that the way the class broke things down, to really go through the classroom section first before we ever stepped out onto a court, was really helpful, which as I've become a more experienced official, you got to know the rules before you step onto the court. And if you can start with that foundation, then the on-court stuff actually is much easier if you're confident in knowing the rules from the classroom.
Yeah, very well said. How was your experience the first few years of officiating?
They were good. The one thing that I really appreciate about Board 6 is that they'll move you up based on your ability, not necessarily how long you've been on the board. And I understand that may not has always been the way on our board and other boards, but my first few years were a really positive experience. I did the middle school games to start like everybody does, but through the OMC, which is our official movement committee, that allows us to move up through the ranks from JV to varsity. That OMC committee obviously saw something in me, and I was getting some of the better freshman and JV games, which are really highly competitive, and so I was able to move, into some of those more competitive, more competitive games a lot sooner, based on I believe what they saw in me. So I really enjoyed my first few years.
Do you feel that you moved up? Was it because it was easier, or because of the work ethic you had to make that happen?
I would like to think that it was the work ethic, slash the time that I spent in the rule book, really, learning it, really working on the mechanics, making sure that I looked the part. So I felt that, from that, it allowed me to move up, based on my ability, and I really appreciate that the board recognized that I was able to handle those bigger games, those more competitive games, and move me up accordingly. And so I've really appreciated that.
How long did it take you to get your first varsity game? How many years were you in before you got your first?
So my first varsity game was year 3. So I went 2 years at the sub-varsity level, and then moved up to varsity my 3rd year, and then hopefully this year in my 6th year, because we had the one pause COVID year, hoping to become full varsity this year.
Okay. Did you feel that the board put things in place to make it successful, i.e. mentors or other people to help you?
Yep. Yeah, I had a mentor when I first started that definitely helped me, came to some of my games, some of those middle school games, helped me work on some things. But I thought also the non-official mentors that I've been able to get through the board have been really helpful. There's just been some guys that I've gravitated towards, whether I did some, rec league games for them, or just so happens that I've worked a few games, with them, each year based on, where we were located. I've been able to pick up some mentors that have been varsity officials for 2 decades, and that's been really, really helpful for me because, the one thing I'd say about our board is the older guys, the veteran guys definitely try to help the younger ones, especially those that really they could tell want to do this for a long time, want to make varsity. They'll definitely help you get better.
What do you want people to be thinking about when they're thinking about becoming an official?
I would say that what I would want somebody to know about if they're considering being an official is if you think you want to, you probably do. If you have that itch, if you always want to be involved in the game, if you think you can do it, give it a shot. You never know, and I've found that it's been one of the most enjoyable things that I've done. Again, keeps me involved in the game, even though I can't really play much anymore, and I never really was much of a player, but I love being in the high school gyms. I love being in that atmosphere, and it's a lot of fun. So I would say that, anyone who's thinking about becoming an official, give it a shot. You never know.
Thank you.